Welcome back to Black Lotus Buds. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Michael. Thanks for joining us.
We're kicking off our 19th episode, and today we're discussing Magic the Gathering Arena, the green and white guild in Magic the Gathering known as Celestia Conclave, and the philosophy of card prices.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. Well, I wanted to talk specifically about the best way to play Arena. And for me, this is coming from literally my personal experience of entering. And I had the luck of having Kevin here, who made me a full-on deck, used all the mythics. I don't have any idea of how to make a deck. And I don't really understand what cards are good or bad. And he was able to do all that legwork for me, craft this deck based on some cards I liked, and it allowed me to take that and win some matches, start learning the mechanics of those cards I had, and even start swapping stuff out. And to me, having that, I think, was a crucial component of me liking Arena. And so I would recommend that as the best way to start, is to have someone experienced teach you how to make a deck. I mean, aside from just it being a headache having to learn it on your own solo from scratch, it's also useful now that I have that. I realize, okay, I want an instant, I want an enchantment, and if I have a deck similar to it, I can look at the balance in the deck to make my own as well. But from that point, I mean, I'm a beast as it is. Like, I think I've lost 3 of my last 4. At this point, it's still fun, man. Well, what do you think is the best way now to play Arena, Kevin, for me?
Well, I think, yeah, perfect. I think coming off of that, like now that you've gone through the training modules and you're actually in ranked matches, learning your deck, establishing how you like your gameplay, the next best thing is collecting those coins. And the cool thing about the app is that it gives you the ability to acquire a bunch of coins by doing these daily challenges that are usually pretty simple to hit. And once you amass 5 or 10,000 coins or credits, you can jump into one of the tournaments. And there's quick draft tournaments for 5,000 gold or coins, or premier draft tournaments that are 10,000. And those are really fun because you get to add a bunch of cards into your collection. You're pretty much ripping packs and just pulling one card out of that pack before you pass it to other players in that tournament. And then by the end of the rounds of drafting, now you've acquired enough cards to build a 40-card deck, so a little bit smaller than the usual 60. But you build a deck and then you compete against other people, and as you compete, you win more points and prizes, and then ultimately...
How many people? If it's like a tournament, how many people are in it?
So you're drafting when you're ripping open packs. I think it's 7 other people. I think it's 8 people total. Might be 9, but I think it's 8. And then once you get through that, you build a deck, and now you just enter into play, and play is going to be anybody who's built a deck from that set with drafting. So you're not just going to be stuck with those 8 or however many other players you're playing with once you're done pulling those cards out of the packs.
It would be pretty sweet to come back and tell you that, hey, yo, dude, I won a tournament. I got that. I won the draft tournament.
Well, winning is going to be getting 7 wins. And, ideally no losses, but if you throw a couple losses in there, that's fine. Once you hit 3 losses, that's the end of it. So, you can go pretty far, even if, like I've done, you start with 2 losses. Don't give up. If anything, tweak your deck a little bit before you enter that 3rd game, so that you hopefully don't lose that one. And then run
like
for it.
NBA, like playoff style. But you just have to not lose 3. You basically win 7 before you lose 3.
There you go. And you'll get all of the prizes. Yeah, if you win like 4 or 5 wins is going to get you like the biggest jump up in gems. And that's what everybody's chasing, because when you get enough gems, you get a season's pass. And a season's pass is like where it's like 69 levels, and every level unlocks something different. So if you play for a few months, or you play for like the full season, on the last day, you can see what level you are. And if you want, you can spend your gems on that season, and then you'll get all of the prizes up to the level that you're at, which is going to include like more coins and gems, wild cards, and then packs, and then some like cool, like creature stuff or like minion, like some weird stuff that's just neat to the game, but not like really crucial to actually playing. I'm only in for the cards, so.
I know just from you preaching that I should log in every few days to get, I guess, perks like
those daily challenges. Yeah, so they'll throw a new they'll throw a new daily challenge every day, and then there's a maximum of 3 challenges that you have. And you'll see like your progression towards those challenges as you play a game or 2 games. So ideally, if you log in like once every 3 days, just get those daily challenges and then get off. And then once you've got enough coins, then that's where the fun begins, when you're now playing a tournament with these drafting rounds. Either quick draft, which is ironically, it's the one that's not timed, so you can take your time with the quick draft, and it's only 5,000 coins. The 10,000 is premier draft, and you're drafting against other humans. So like you're on a timer, and you only have like, at the end of it, you start with like 40 seconds to pull a card out of the first pack. By the end of it, you have like 10 seconds to pick between 2 or 3 cards that's remaining in the pack. So it is pretty much like you have to kind of go into it with what color are you going to pick, and stick with 1 or 2 or 3 colors, and don't really don't pick other cards outside of that. And then that's fun because you get to learn the concept of Tarkir, for example, right now that's out, and soon to be Final Fantasy on these other ones.
That's people are hype about that. So it sounds like the definitive best way to play Arena is you get a friend to build you a deck. Outside of that, you find a way to make a pre-built deck that is good. So that's the point. Like, preferably the easy way is to phone a friend. And then after that, you get into matches, you just play. You do the tutorial, you play a little, you change the deck around to see how your changes make. I would advise making a duplicate deck. That way you have your original and you can still tweak your new one. It's free. You make infinite duplicate decks, up to like 100 decks.
Yep.
At that point, you've got your mojo, you got your rhythm, you got some understanding of at least your cards, whatever colors you were playing with. And then you switch into, I'm going to log in to do my dailies every 3 days, and then I'll play quick draft and premium draft when I can. And coming from the Black Lotus buds, that is the best way to play Arena.
Beautiful. I couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah. Well, it's a plan. Now, do they have man, I want to talk about 2 things at once. I wanted to talk a little bit about Commander if it's on Arena, but you mentioned Final Fantasy, and I don't think we've talked about this. There is a hype like Golden Bird that is the serialized card in the Final Fantasy thing. Now, people are like speculating whether or not this is going to be a popular set, but like hands down, it's got to be, right? Just because it's Final Fantasy, I would think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's like a merge of a bunch of worlds, I think, but they're definitely going to be showcasing a whole bunch of Final Fantasy characters and stuff. And there's a lot of cards that are like showing up right now online. They're releasing a bunch out there just so people know what's into it. And there's a bunch of really good cards, like really strong. There was this like human, I think it was just like a human warrior. But it makes sense. Like, they've done a good job at saying, okay, if this character who looks like a human, we're going to call him a human now, and then there's some birds. There's so many cards though. Like, I have not done my homework yet. I'm pretty much just waiting for it to get released or right up to release, and then go through the library and see what's out there and what looks amazing. It's always fun looking at all the mythics and the rares and figuring out what do you want, For me, what's going to help the strategy, and for you, what's really collectible out there.
Man, so you were just I'm just a picky man, but I almost see Final Fantasy as because I haven't played. I mean, I played like a Super Nintendo that was my cousin's, so I would go over there once a month and play it for 20 minutes.
I did the same thing. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome,
you
dude.
like
Yeah.
you pick it up, you play it a little bit, you're like, okay, they were really into it, and I never owned it, so I never got that deep. But then I owned, I think, 14 or 15 on my PC, and it was so good and so engrossing. I spent like a few hours and said, dude, like I can't, like I'm not ready for this commitment because I could just tell. I never went back. It was so grand. I was afraid it was gonna take over my life. But sometimes I feel like it's not approachable if it's not my cup of tea. Like Final Fantasy, it's like I don't know if I'm into that. So I don't know if I'm that into the cards. And you're just like, I want to see these. I want to see the abilities of these cards. Like it doesn't matter what they are. It's like what are the mechanics?
Yeah, I'll fall in love with the cards based off of their abilities. How about that? Like I'm not going into it knowing a lot of the Final Fantasy lore or characters and creatures and everything in between. So I'm excited just to look at it from that competitive space and then start to, fall in love with something that's going to show up or that's already out there right
Well,
now.
I'll probably start to love them in the same way from playing competitive on Arena, because I'll see them like right. It'll give me packs,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
I'll be comparing them to my Tarkir
There,
cards.
there you go. Exactly. And to answer your question about Commander on Arena, yes, they do, and it's called Standard Brawl, where you just pretty much build
Hmm.
a singleton deck, so only one of any card. And I think they have it a little bit more limited, where it's almost like standard, in the sense that you're only able to play with like the most recent 4 or 5 years of cards. So it's a little bit more of a approachable way to play Commander, where you're not, playing like one of these older formats, one of these like legacy old formats where any card that's been printed could be played, type of thing.
They have like a god deck already.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because then nobody would want to play if people are only playing with the best of the best. But they do have these legacy and other old formats on here that you can stumble into and, and really see how people have mastered this game. And I would absolutely recommend, if you're okay with losing a couple matches, see what's out there by just playing some of these other formats and just exploding your mind with like how you can actually play this game and painfully get through each turn. Well, I believe, Michael, we're jumping into it. It is time for this or that. With both cards in hand, which would you play? Both are from Foundations. This tonight is Authority of the Consuls, a 1 mana enchantment featuring an ornate high temple costing 1 plains, and it reads, creatures your opponents control enter tapped. Whenever a creature an opponent controls enters, you gain 1 life. That tonight is Basilisk Collar, a 1 colorless mana artifact featuring a well-constructed shackle fastened to a monster. And its ability is equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink, equipped for 2 colorless mana. So, with both in hand, Michael, which do you play?
Okay. Well, first impressions here. Authority of the Councils. Okay. Art was underwhelming, but the description of this card is just overpowered, right? It's like crippling. It's annoying to your opponents because everything has to enter tap, and you're gaining life whenever they pull something out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that include like if they have tokens that are mobilizing, like bunnies spawning? Am I gaining a life and they're entering those tapped as well?
Yeah, this card is like your worst nightmare against haste, because anything with haste is going to get punished if it enters the battlefield and it's able to attack. Well, if it enters the battlefield tapped, it can't attack, so it crushes a mobilize strategy immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems so powerful. And then you look
Yeah.
at our big dog, the basilisk. I guess it's the collar. It's not even the dog on the card. It's Death Touch. I love Lifelink. I haven't played with personally, so I don't have that like personal understanding. But I mean,
I'll give you the
it
definition.
seems.
Damage dealt by
Yeah,
this
go for it.
creature also causes you to gain that much life.
Yeah, I mean that could be potentially game changing or game saving, but dude, just authority that councils. It's like I don't see 1 mana as well. Like, I guess the other one's 1, but you also have to equip it. So it's just like I can't say anything other than Authority of the Councils, and so I'm going with this.
Well, you're right. I think anybody would look at this and say, of these two, it comes down to this question: is your strategy revolving around a lot of creatures and a lot happening, or is it revolving around one creature, one powerful monster? If you've got a lot of low, like small tokens on your side, you're really going to want Authority on the consoles to like screw up your opponent from blocking you. If anything they throw into the battlefield gets tapped right away, that's going to help you continue to deal damage against them. If you've got a big creature on the battlefield, Basilisk is going to help you because it's an artifact that allows you can move it around. So it can be on one creature of yours, and then for 2 colorless mana, you can equip it to something else on any turn. And if that creature dies with this artifact attached to it, then your creature dies, but the artifact will still remain on the battlefield. The artifact won't disappear with it. That's different from like an enchantment. An enchantment would go with the creature. So that's a perk of an artifact. But overall, more times than not, Authority is just going to help you in the long run. Like you said, with that gaining of life, every single time a creature theirs enters, it's just going to be a little bit more powerful and more consistently giving you that slight advantage than Basilisk. So I agree. Wonderful job.
Thank you. It's interesting that when we first started doing this, dude, I just felt like I was so in the dark. And, like, even though I don't have, like, a good grip on, like, a tons of, like, I've learned, like, maybe 2% of Magic the Gathering. I don't even mean all of it. I just mean the general rules, right? And even with that, it's like, I can see some of these. Like, if I'm in a draft, I haven't even played one yet, but Authority of the Councils, like, I'm really hoping I have a, white deck, because that just seems like it's just useful in all contexts.
I picked 2 really powerful 1-mana cards. I mean, these are both really, really powerful. There's nothing short of amazing with both of them. It's just Authority is that one that's like, this is, if you have a white deck, I mean, right now, this is such a powerful card to put in a deck where, and like with any strategy, because it's just like it's just such a defensive card. And at the same time, like, prevents your opponent, like for example, you and mobilizing, it would crush your strategy, and immediately this would be a game where you're like, this one card I have to get rid of, otherwise all of my creatures that I'm trying to mobilize, they won't be able to attack. They'll just enter tapped and then they'll die. So it's just a matter of like what's going to work for most people. Basilisk is going to help you late game, of course, and even early game, but it doesn't have hexproof. It doesn't give the creature anything more, powerful other than that death touch. So it's going to, usually prevent your opponent from wanting to block with it, block with one of the creatures. But Authority, I think, is just such a strong card. And these are both like in the $5 range. So they're not cheap. I mean, and that just shows how powerful they both are.
Authority is a Plains card. Is that part of what the Silencia Conclave is? Is it a white and blue?
Yeah. You want to jump into that one now?
Yeah, but tell me first, was this the one you said was your favorite, or is that coming up next, or is this your favorite guild?
Oh, so yeah, off air, I had said that I was really excited to talk about this guild in particular because overall, the best cards I've had in Magic are like a green and white. So I've really built a super powerful synergizing deck based off of this guild, more or less. Now, not particular to this guild with like the certain creatures that you'll find in this guild specifically, but overall these colors are really powerful with the cards that I have that I didn't need to like actually purchase. And
green can be annoying. I play against green a lot.
Yeah, green is that late game deck. I mean, it's like never gonna win the game immediately. Except now that they've introduced all these elves, it's like it's opening up a lot of people's eyes to, okay, well, there is some hope here if you just have a mono green deck. But green and white paired together do a great job. And on that note, so Celestia Conclave, the green and white Guild of Magic, the Gathering, I wrote where harmony and unity are present within the self and promoted within the collective community. So what that means is everything, for the most part, is trying to help everything else. So popular mechanics are populating, convoking. There's one called Myriad. There's training. And some of these you might not have stumbled into just yet, Michael, so I'll break down some of the definitions. Convoke allows creatures to help cast spells by paying mana and enabling larger creatures to be cast faster. So you can use an untapped creature on the battlefield to tap it for, like, if it's like a white creature, you can tap it and now you can use that creature as a plains. If you have a green creature on the battlefield, you can tap that and use that as a forest. So now you've got like 2 mana just off of those 2 creatures, and now you can use the rest of your mana to cast some massive creature out of your hand. It's really popular, really powerful. Populate creates a copy of one of your creature tokens, and training means whenever a creature with training attacks alongside a creature of greater power, put a 1/1 counter on the creature with training. So it's usually like training is going to be like the other powerful creature is its master now, and it's going to get lifted up and get a 1/1 counter that's going to stay on it just because it's attacking with a larger, more powerful creature.
Yeah, that all sounded... So whenever you're speaking on this, I'm thinking of playing against it, and everything you said annoyed me. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, there's a lot of abilities that you'll see with this one, which is like ETBs, so entering the battlefield abilities, creating tokens. There's a lot of whenever abilities that benefit the greater good, and there's a lot of creature cards that serve that purpose. And this is very similar, like the strategy that you'll kind of see with this deck, this guild, is super common and almost like identical to Simic Combine, the one we were just talking about last episode, where I said, that one's all about growth, whether it's adding 1/1 counters or amassing an army of tokens. I can literally just copy and paste that for this guild, because they go kind of hand in hand. They both have green. That one had blue. This one has white. So I would actually argue that this one is more than likely, in most cases, going to amass more tokens, like creature tokens, and also these 1/1 counters. The other one you can kind of argue more about growth and like having spells that can double abilities of certain things. But this is a really fun one. And you can't go wrong with some of these commanders in this. I asked you to look up Sigarda, Font of Blessings, and I'm actually going to look this card up, pull it up right now myself, because this card is one of these 4 mana cards in the game that's just absolutely powerful. You can't escape how strong this card is. It has flying. Other permanents you control have hexproof. Other permanents, Michael, means that artifact we were just talking about, that is a permanent. An enchantment on the battlefield is a permanent. Tokens you have on the battlefield are permanents. So that's huge to have other permanents you control have hexproof. The abilities go on. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and then you may cast angel spells and human spells from the top of your library. It's a 4/4 creature for 4 mana, and with flying. So Sigarda, Font of Blessings is a very powerful card. I would say it's a pretty common commander for this guild. And there's other Sigarda cards out there that are commanders. There's Sigarda, Host of Herons, Sigarda, Champions of Light, Sigarda, Heron's Grace.
It seems so it seems so powerful, like overpowered.
Yeah, that card in particular I love because of like how much of it makes sense to build. You would say, okay, I'm just going to make a deck now off of humans and angels. But this guild, it loves humans. The creatures are like, there's elves, there's large beasts like elephants, there's warriors. I actually found a fandom, like a fan page today online that breaks down like all of the very common creatures and the common like classes of this guild, which I had never done before. I'd never seen this site before, so I'm like, damn, I could have used this as a cheat sheet. But in any event, like this, this guild is a fun one, and it's going to be pretty powerful, especially late game, once you get all those tokens working for you.
That match I told you about, it was a green, and it came down to I won with 20 points, and I got them exactly to 0 because I had a charm. And had I not had that instant that I could play and damage them for an extra 4, they were going to wipe me all in one turn. It was like the whole time they were just building up to that moment. It made for a very, especially maybe because my deck is the opposite. It's kind of like we were racing.
Yeah.
And
were
it
there
makes it fun.
Were there elves out there? Was it just nothing but elves?
No.
Okay.
But you know what? Dude, I feel like it was a card like this one, and I was able to, I had that black card where I can look in their hand and discard one, and I got rid of something like this.
Nice.
It had, I don't know if it was this one, but I do think it had, like, other permanents have hexproof, and I was just like, what am I going to do if he puts this out? All my stuff is, like, he eliminates half of my deck if he allows that to be put on the field. So I was like, let me get rid of this thing.
Yeah, there's just...
I don't know if it was this same one, though.
There's powerful cards in here. Amara Tandris is the current guild master, and she's a goddess of an elf, if I say so myself. Other popular cards are Fracturing Gust, Aura Shards, Ohabi, Kaliria, which is an elf archer. But there's one card I asked you to look up, Eladmri's... I'm saying that wrong, but oh well. Eladmri's Call. I butchered that so bad, but it's okay. I actually bought this card in a card shop. I saw it in the glass cabinet. I just said, you know what, I'm gonna pay. It was like $8 or $12, and I was like, I want this card. It's
that's cool.
Yeah, it's a 1 forest, 1 plains. It's an instant, which is I think the most important thing about it. And then it is search your library for a creature card. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So for 2 mana as an instant, you can just play it at the end of your opponent's turn and then get a creature in your hand, like Sigarda, any of the Sigardas for that matter, and then have the ability to play that your next turn and really set your opponent up to be irritated.
Oh, yeah, and you get to pick it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you get to look through your entire library and find the card at that point in the game that you need to win.
Yeah, that's...
Or to beef up everything else.
Powerful.
Yeah. Some of these Sigardas do like, they
strike me like that, but when you think about it, it's like... Because it just seems so plain. Like,
Yeah. And
the other card had like 8 things on it that all seemed overpowered. And this seems like you could overlook it. But yeah, if you think about it, if I need the one dude that prevents all of my tokens from being sacrificed, I can throw it out there. Or if my dragon that will double all my minions' damage is better in that situation, I can just pull. It's like whatever it would be. I mean, this is green and white, but it's powerful.
Yeah. And to circle it back to the beginning of this point here, it's just that card, Sigarda, where it just gives everything hexproof, everything else hexproof. That is the concept of this guild, where it's one card is going to help everything else. One card is going to give all your other creatures the ability to be tapped for mana. There's certain really neat characteristics of this guild that are not on the demonic side and destroying creatures and getting your opponents to sacrifice permanents or throw away cards and put them in the yard. It's just more about building up your army and making everything work together, which I found really fascinating in the beginning of the game, and ended up getting a commander deck with this guild, and it's been a really fun color scheme to play with. But do I recommend it? No, I'm kidding. If you like it, play with it.
I feel like I'm gonna have to do all of them and gain an appreciation for them. But right now, the simplicity of what I'm dealing with is very nice.
There you go. Have fun with it.
But yeah, I'm gonna try. On the topics of how I feel about green and white.
You're thinking about your colors. We know what you're thinking about. Red,
I
white,
know.
and black.
Yeah, I almost said it, and I couldn't. In my mind, it's one track, man. I can only think of them. But let's talk about another story that may invoke feeling, or not. You guys can tell us, I guess. And that is where, what, or why.
Well, let's start with the where.
The where is eBay.
All right, we're gonna go with the what.
The what is a parlor game from 1903. And the why is because they would have to make a phone call. God, it was so annoying. So I've already talked to Kevin about this just a wee bit. But I went antiquing on the weekend. And I went to a few places, ended up at an antique mall, which if you've never been to one of these, good God, dude, they have, the one I went to had everything from video games to trading cards to G.I. Joes to ancient, like furniture to scrolls to just literally old, new, just all sorts. And I had found a few different things, one of which was our what? A parlor game from 1903. And I knew that it was pretty substantially overpriced from what I was seeing online, but I was excited in the antique mall for the first time, and I wanted it. And the guy wouldn't sell it to me because they would have to make a phone call to the guy that owned it, and otherwise they weren't interested in putting in that effort. And so originally, I was upset. I was like, dang, man, this is really a bummer. However, I ended up going on eBay, finding a better, more complete version of that, being able to haggle, which kind of gave me the fun of the antique mall, and I ended up getting it at less than what I was even seeing online. So I paid $15 for it. And in the end, I got to experience the antique mall. I now know there's this wonderful place of wonders and mischief and modern cars. It's got a mix of all these fun things for a good trip out. And I got my parlor game anyway from eBay. So it ended up having a really big happy ending where it's I just feel like I got W's all the way around. Kevin, how does this make you feel?
It makes me feel elated. Having a similar experience in a shop, although I was able to purchase the game. It wasn't from 1903, but it was a old game called Scrabble RSVP, and it had everything in it, and it was taped shut, and they had a note saying all of the pieces are in here. So I was very excited to purchase that. But looking at your story and knowing that at the end of the day, although they didn't sell it to you, you still got it, and you found it because of the antique shop, I love it.
Right? It was like just a different path, the same thing. Yeah. Well, on a WoW scale, maybe 1 being losing an auction on eBay in the final fraction of a second. In 10, being given your antique you find for free. What would you rate this story?
We're going with an 8, Michael. We're going with an 8.
An 8. Well, so I would give that, if I'm gonna say, you heard it here. Well, hold on. This is what I always forget, Kevin. It is the call to action. So my mission for you guys is to go out there, find an antique mall or a store, a garage sale, whatever your area provides, and go find an item specifically that you're gonna appreciate more than every person that passed it. Because I can't tell you how excited I am to get this old game. I'm gonna play it with some friends, and the same with Kevin and his Scrabble RSVP. It's just this great feeling, and I want you guys to go out there and spend a couple hours and go on a little adventure. You might have a fun time or a positive experience in the end as well. So you heard it here. It's an 8, and that's a wow.
It's a wow. It's a wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that was some feel-good vibes. To go into our next segment, too. This was another this is another, you know what, maybe I've just been in a good mood, Kevin, because the topic is price philosophy. And I have been, especially with all the scalpers and the heavy prices, and boy, I'm ordering a collector's box in August for Eternities, and it's like 300. It's just all this, like, my hobby's becoming stressful, and this money's a factor, and I've always been kind of, obviously, against scammers, but against these, like, price hikes. And then there's a channel on YouTube, I forget his name, but his name's Rudy. He's, like, advertised himself as, like, the biggest single collection of Magic the Gathering, or something to akin to that. But he's got his own shop, and he's buys tons and tons of product, and he made an argument in a video where I was, like, doing chores. I was barely listening, but he piqued my mind because he uses the word Timmy like a derogatory, like Karen. And, like, Timmies are, like, the dumb, whiny collectors that don't make any sense, or they're promoting one thing or the other. And he's like, all these Timmies are mad about Tarkir collector boxes being $700. And it piqued my ear because I'm like, yeah, you should be mad about that. That's ridiculous. You should be able to go get, this is my take. I'm, like, listening, and I'm like, you should be able to go get your box for whatever the Target would sell it for, whatever Walmart would have it, whatever your card shop MSRP, the suggested retail. And he's obviously, I'm not talking to him, his video's just going, and he's like, well, MSRP is just that suggested retail. It's not a set thing. And he said everybody's upset when their box is $700, but no one ever complains when you can go on to TCG Player and get them at a quarter of a price or a half of a price for a box. And then all of a sudden it's a positive thing. And, like, you know, to some degree, this is kind of like a strange argument, because really, once the boxes are devalued like that, you don't even want them. That's why they get devalued. But it's a good point, because, I mean, preferably me. The philosophy I would prefer is that I can just always get it at a set price. And that's not the reality of it. But also, I don't think if you want a flowing market with, you know, I'm pulling a Pokemon card and I'm looking for the $160 chase, I think if you make it like an unlimited tabletop game, it would actually remove the value and the inherent fun there is to ripping packs and doing things like that. So I just thought it was kind of a take where I have always just been like, you know, boo-hoo when prices spike up, because I personally can't really afford a whole lot. I've been putting a lot into buying trading cards, and you know what? I notice it. It's a choice I make. It's not always the easiest. You know, I might sacrifice other things that might help me, or like a new wardrobe, or, you know, important things, but I'm like, trading cards is what gives me this happiness. And I never really thought about how that is just kind of part of the game and not particularly unfair if it's completely dependent on demand. It's not just this scalper game. It's also, when they make these reprints, the prices isn't fluctuating because the demand is always there. I think the scalping is in poor taste, and it gives you this poor taste for all of these rising prices. And over here in the US, we talk about inflation a lot in the news. But honestly, it gave me a little different perspective. And now I'm still going to react, you know, if I'm like excited about a set coming out and they're doing like a Pokemon crossover and I'm so stoked, I go to order the collector box and they're like, yep, that'll be $2,000. I'm now going to be upset again. But it gives you a little like grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah. You know, I saw somewhere recently where I was really digging deep into sorcery that you love so much. I think is the full name of that game Sorcery a Contested Realm, or the Contested Realm? Is that the name of the game?
That is the name of the game.
Okay,
Sorcery
cool.
Contested Realm. It could also be seen, because they've only had 2 sets and they've announced a third. So the second is Arthurian Legends, like the King Arthur theme.
Okay.
And then the next is Gothic. So technically, I mean, Contested Realm may just be the name of the first set. It's hard because I knew it as just that for so long. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, but Contested Realm may be the base set. It's contested realm, Arthurian Legends, Gothic, and Sorcery is the over-encompassing name.
Got it. Okay. Well, I was looking at an article and I found that they do their part in trying to limit scalping and people just grabbing all these boxes. And it read something along, I think it was 24. They said they do their part by limiting the amount of boxes you can buy to 24 to avoid scalping. And I laughed so hard because to me, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, maybe I'm sure I can share this with you. We're in this together, but 24 boxes to me, like that's your limit before it's considered scalping. I just laughed so hard, like, wow, if I can afford 24 boxes of each set of these cards that gets released, I don't know what I would be doing right now. I'd be playing Magic.
It's
I would
definitely
just be playing Sorcery.
Definitely a bit of perspective too, because I'm with you. Like that is, hey God, I've never, I don't know if I've even bought 24. I buy them. I'm buying them every couple weeks now.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten up to 24 boxes of anything.
Yeah.
Even Pokemon, and it's like the thing with them is, I guess you'll see like vendors and stuff, and people with like pallets and pallets of that. Rudy guy is one of them, because they're not only, they're like stores as well, so they're buying it as a game store.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does seem like it's still quite a bit. But one of the things they do also to limit that is they have reprints, and they said early on, especially with the original set Contested Realm, that they were going to be reprinting, and their goal was to get it to people that wanted it and to think of it more as a tabletop game, because they just want people to play the damn thing and to get into the format and the game itself. And it's caused some controversy, because people are collecting it. I'm a collector, that's why I buy it. That's my main influence, is enjoying it and sleeving it, and I don't play it a lot, almost never. I think I played one full match from start to finish of Sorcery ever. I've wanted more, it's just hard, it's not as convenient as Arena, but they do, you're not going to scalp that game when you're speculating, this new company, are they going to, are they reprinting this? So do I want to have $1 million of pallets in a warehouse when next year they're just going to reprint it and now no one's going to buy it from me, and now I have 1 million of these for no reason? Whereas Pokemon, they're coming out with sets every couple months. Like they just scoop up as much as they can get, and the scalpers can't even get enough. So it's like they don't have to question it; they know it's going to sell.
Yeah.
So it's like a different ball game. There was also, I know we've got the greatest segment in the universe coming up here, but I did want to talk about too. As far as philosophy of prices, one thing is mystery boxes. I watched a video, and I think they're called MJ Holding mystery boxes. These are the ones, I don't know if you've ever seen, Kevin, in Walmart, where they have all sorts of stuff. They'll have like Pokemon, Magic. The ones I'm referring to were mystery boxes with like 6 packs in them. And on the front, they have a base set pack from like the 1990s or 2000, whenever that came out. Really old vintage stuff. Where in reality, I watched a dude on YouTube rip like 20 or 30 of them, and no one's getting that. They don't express what they say 1 in 10 gets a chase pack, and they never define what that actually is. And so, my opinion on this is I think it's pretty scummy, because I think it's fairly obvious, it's unregulated. Gambling's regulated, but somehow this is not. And it's like, you're basically advertising, you have a 1 in 10 chance of pulling a pack like this base set. But the reality is that the
odds could be much lower.
It's going to be, the value between that is crazy. And here's the thing, people, I think, a lot of times even know that, and I even consider buying these knowing that advertisement is in poor taste, because it's that, like, you're getting 6 packs, you're spending whatever it is, 30, 35 bucks or similar to that, and it's for like the you're trying to chase that around. So outside of that false advertising, I think it's kind of great. But with that, it's like I hate the philosophy of like promising these odds. Like that's the only part that bothers me. I want it to be clear and direct. This is what you're getting. These are your chances at it. Because you know what, dude? People would still buy it. If you said it's a 1 in 1,000 chance that you get a PSA 10 Charizard, people are buying that, like, expecting it every time. You don't have to really lie. So it's like, I don't know, it just seems in poor taste to play with that line a little bit. It just seems easy to not. But then again, people are buying them. They're still around. I was like, yeah, this is so scummy. I might buy some. That was my take.
I think
like, damn.
I think the appeal about those is more or less the price is so low and the reward is so unknown that it is exactly like a gambling moment. And it's just like when you're in the line and you're just about to check out and they have all these candy bars and things that are just impulse buys that you say, I'm here, I'll just grab this. It just seems like these mystery boxes aren't really designed for you to get the enjoyment out of it other than just the purchasing of it. And then just when you rip it up and you realize, okay, well, I guess I didn't get what they claim to have in here. But I haven't really experienced too many of I haven't seen many of these mystery boxes, so I'm not really versed in them. But it's interesting hearing it from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean it's just another product. I mean, I would definitely say it's in poor taste, but also I was like, this might make a good YouTube video if I open one of these. So it's like hard to hate when I'm considering buying some. But price is right.
Yeah.
Let's hop in here. Hopefully I have this together here. I don't know why I feel like I don't have the power to summon this, but let's hop into our final segment for the night. And that is Sejum's Murder. It's a game with points, prizes, power, and progression. So, let me take you on a journey. You are in, once again, a deep, deep slumber. And once again, you begin slipping further down than you've ever been before. Think of this as like you always get a +1 on this. You're always going deeper, all right? Suddenly, your dream breaks, and you see within your own mind eye in a chasm of space and time the home of the card clerk, and the card clerk himself in the red, sweet, smelling, swirling sand. And he looks like he always does. You look up at him, he says, "Welcome back. I'm the card clerk, here to give you chances of power and progression. Choose your path for today." And he holds out his hand. You see a yellow fluffy duck, a white shining plate mail, and a small live rabbit. So, which will you choose?
That fluffy duck has been following me around this whole time. So I'm going with that duck finally. We're choosing the yellow fluffy duck.
All right. So okay. Suddenly your tunnel vision returns. Oh, I'm so sorry. A tunnel appears before you, and you begin slipping back. You see the card clerk disappearing, and suddenly you are in a whole new location. And what you see before you is a giant fluffy duck, but he's in a like a hunter's jacket. It's got ammunition in it. He's got a rifle, and he's saddled. And instinctively, as if you've done this before, you hop on his back, and you boys begin to go. You know the mission,
Hey.
And you see all of these human hunters, the size of what we see as ducks, running all around. And off you go running. You see one. You're on the plains. He jumps up above, and the duck turns to you, and he quacks. There is worth 25 points. There's a 1977 Topps Star Wars First Series sealed wax pack, PSA 8. The wax packs, that's just like the really old booster packs that used to have sticks of gum.
Cool. Okay.
So 1977 Star Wars First Series sealed wax pack, PSA 8. Sold for what? At the end of April here. Is it A, $119? Is it B, $320? Is it C, $439? Or is it D, $499.
C, final.
Oh, snap. The duck turns to you. You answer the question, and suddenly you see the hunter pop up from behind a bush. You point. The duck turns. He shoots. You guys have bag and tagged one. You put it in the sack, and off you go to hunt again. A group of small hunters, all wearing high-vis orange. Again, little miniature peoples. They begin to scatter. The duck turns back, and he quacks, worth another 25 points. There was a Dragon Ball Fusion set called Rivals Clash. It came out earlier this month. The top card, the number 1 selling card, is a super alternate art Broly. Now, Broly is one of the Saiyan characters, the exciting franchise characters of Dragon Ball. You know, he's kind of an off character. He's not a main character, but he's the same race as the mains, and he's super powerful and hype. Okay.
Okay.
How much did this top card sell on TCG Player? Or really, because this is an eBay, so this is what its current market sale price is, rather. Okay. So is it A, $149.99? Is it B, $249.99? Is it C, $349.99? Or is it D, $449.99?
A, final.
Well, you have underestimated the Dragon Ball community, and for that, you point at the next hunter. You see in high vis, the duck turns, he shoots, and he misses. But that's okay. You bag and tag one. It's time to get a third, or attempt a third, rather. And as you continue down, going down this plains and wooded area, you see another group of these, this time, very raggedy, strange-looking hunters. They're barely wearing any clothes. You see some blue cans that appear to be on the ground. You're not sure. As they stumble away, the duck stops. Easier prey this time. Worth 25 points. There is a easier prey, not an easier question. There's a 1994 vintage board game by the Parker Brothers complete. It is called Peanut Panic. I don't know if you have ever heard me talk about this game, Kevin, but I used to own this.
Oh.
It is a motorized peanutty escape game. It last sold on eBay for how much? Is it A, $29.99? Is it B, $175? Is it C, $214.99? Or is it D, $300? The Peanutty Escape Game. 25 points.
We'll go B, final.
That was a valiant guess. And a matter of fact, I believe that was the price of one of the sets that was not complete. In this instance, the answer was C, $214.99.
Wow.
The duck aims at the easy prey, stumbling, drunk. He goes to shoot, and you fall off, kicking his gun. It goes off in the air, and all of the miniature hunters escape. But you bag and tagged one. The duck, Fluffy, is filled with a little vigor. He turns to you, pats you on the back, tells you, that was a good hunt, son. He says, I have one more question for you, if you're up to it.
Oh, I'm always up
this
for
one's a challenge question. So, these are always worth additional points, depending on how many questions you get correct. So, you got one. Is that right? Did you get one question correct?
Yep.
Yes, you tag and bagged one. So, you get another opportunity at an additional 25 points. The card is Butterfree. It's from the new set Journey Together. It has 120 hit points and a single move. That move is called Scale Hurricane. You flip 4 coins. The attack does 60 damage for each heads. If 2 heads are flipped, at least, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. Now, for you, Kevin, paralysis in Pokemon means the opponent Pokemon will always have it. It doesn't just go away on its own. And every time it chooses to attack, it now must flip. And only half of the time, its attacks will be successful. So, there are ways to get around that, evolution or certain items. But in general, paralysis is pretty hardcore.
Okay.
Now, the question is, how many energy does the attack cost? And now, I know this is a bit of uncharted territory for you, but it's just like Magic. Energy would be like mana cost, in a very similar fashion.
I am thinking 2 or 3, and it just seems like a super powerful ability, but it has a low life, this creature, with only 120 HP. So I think it's just going to lean towards the powerful side of things. So it's going to be 3, maybe 4. I'm just going to commit to 3 final.
The duck looks at you and he lets out a quack. He's laughing at you. The answer was 1 energy.
What? That seems like it's such a powerful move.
I agree. Now, it's a gamble, so I don't think a lot of players actually want that in their Pokemon deck. I usually keep 1 as a gamble in case I mess up, and I can now just win off of luck. But I went through the cards. I haven't played Pokemon a whole lot, and I saw that 1 mana, or the 1 energy cost, and I was like, this is going to get him for sure, because I feel like it got me. I was like, how can this be?
Yeah.
And also it's a Butterfree. Like, I don't typically, I guess they're doing it justice, you know? Like, you don't think of that as the powerful Pokemon.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're like, you know what? You could potentially do 240 damage. Yeah, a little butterfly. So, you enjoy the quack of the duck, a little disappointed that he's laughed at you. But before you can think too long, before you can dwell, the tunnel vision returns, and you arrive again before the card clerk. He informs you that you have earned in total, with your 25 points today, you now have 125 points for answering 1 question correctly, and not getting the challenge question. Once you reach 2,000 points, you will unlock a grand prize of 1 Magic the Gathering booster box. But your journey isn't over yet, because today you earned 25 vigor. The card clerk tells you, use it wisely. Suddenly, you are awake, but the timer is ticking down. You have 25 vigor. As you arise, you see the dead crow. You begin to make a dart out. You are weirded out. This crow is dead. You don't know what's right or wrong. The smell of sulfur has hit you again. And as you exit into a clearing through the brush, you see an open shaft. It looks like a mine shaft. And you know that is your next spot. Now, Kevin, you don't have to worry about your timer, because that is the conclusion of this level. And as you enter the mine shaft, you return to a new place. Everything is white, and you see before you an angel of time. She informs you that you have not reached your potential power, and that if you do not achieve it, the prizes you have earned will be at risk. You now have the option, next episode, to replay the whole level in its entirety, assuming you can earn any vigor points at all. Or you can choose to proceed, and you sacrifice your prizes, and you double your points. The choice is yours.
And I make this choice now.
You don't have to make it now, I suppose. If you would prefer, we can leave. I mean, this is the Angel of Time at this point. So if you prefer to take some time and think about it, you can.
Audience, I think you're going to need to help me on this. We're going to put up a poll.
Okay. I like it. Well then, as first of all, congratulations
Thank you.
On completing level 1. You did earn the achievement Crow Killer, and I believe your prizes right now are limited to a PSA 10 owl, like Vega the Watcher or something the Watcher. So
that's right.
At stake.
I think it was a PSA 9.
Was it? It is a PSA 9. You're right. You're right. It's PSA 9, Vega the Watcher. I also have Ominous Owl that we ripped in half from the bonus episode. So that's just kind of in there. It's not really part of the game.
I don't want to lose that.
You're getting that no matter what. But with that, we'll conclude Sejum's murder. I still have a lot of plans for this, and I think it'll come together the longer it goes, but I hope you're still having fun. I like the questions, especially, like being able to stump you with some weird questions and trick you a little bit.
It's good. I enjoy it thoroughly.
Good. I mean, I look forward to. I look forward to this or that quite a bit. Especially now, I feel like I'm getting better. It feels better. Before, I felt lost.
I don't think I'm getting any better at this, but I'm glad you're getting better with the this or that's.
Well, no, but you honestly, you're being tricked. Like I understood your perception, like that you would. I mean, you're just really good at thinking this stuff out. And I felt like that would trick you. To be honest, I was almost hoping you would get them all wrong, and I would just get a break from writing level 2 for next week. But I guess I'll have that prepared now. You damn answered the question right, so there's nothing I can do. You earned it, dude. You earned it.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see if we get this poll going. We'll see where everybody wants it to go.
Yeah. I think it was a great idea. That was on the spot. People, that wasn't planned. He's polling. He's just polling now. That's just what he does.
I'm pulling for something. Pulling and polling.
Well, for next week, I mean, are you just about ready to wrap up?
Let's do it.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
For next week, there's or next podcast, there's a topic that I'm kind of excited about because it's something that I've been neurotic about and felt worried about, and that is self-authenticating your PSA slabs. And I'm really excited to share it because I'm really excited to deep dive into it myself. So we have that to look forward to next podcast.
I am going to be excited for that as well. Everybody, thanks for joining us. We had a blast. Hope you did too. And we will catch you all next time.